Hello, my name is Emma, and today I am doing a Q&A. I woke up with a spontaneous desire to film a Q&A, so I decided to just roll with it, and I asked you guys for questions on Twitter and Instagram and whatnot, so today I'm going to be answering them. I have my cup of tea, I hope you guys do as well. And before we jump into your questions, I would like to thank today's sponsor, which is Skillshare. Skillshare is an online learning community that offers thousands of classes for people looking to improve their skills on a variety of topics from art, music, entrepreneurship, technology, and more. In spending a lot of time at home, I've noticed a ton of extra energy that I currently don't have the means to exert, but taking their classes and learning to better myself has offered me a lot of the mental stimulation that I normally get from going out and seeing friends. I've been trying my best to increase the quality of editing in my videos, and I finally got around to watching the class Adobe After Effects Lower Thirds Motion Graphic Titles by Will Bartlett, where you can learn to make some really awesome moving titles like these. Skillshare aims to make learning accessible and affordable, with most classes being under an hour so you can move through them very quickly, plus their yearly subscription tops out at under $10 per month. The first 1,000 people who join Skillshare using the link in my description will get 2 months of Skillshare Premium totally free. So check them out. Doing so really helps support my channel and give yourself the chance to learn something new. So I'm going to start off with some questions from the lovely folks who support me on Patreon. If you're interested in checking out my Patreon, it's in the description. First question from Sam is, what is your favorite scent? And I actually have an answer to this. My favorite scent is petrichor, which is the smell of rain after a dry spell. I became obsessed with this word in high school when it was a big theme on a Doctor Who episode because I was a massive Whovian as a teenager. But beyond that, it truly is my favorite scent. I love rain. I love the smell of it, the feel of it, just like the entire atmosphere around a rainy day. They also asked, what is your favorite piece of clothing that you own? The first outfit that comes to mind is what I wore for BookCon last year. I think it was the day of my panel. It was this gorgeous matching two-piece set that had like a long sleeve crop top and a gorgeous pink skirt. I got it off of Lulu's and it's totally one of my favorite items. I really love matching two-piece sets, so I think an honorable mention up there as well is my holographic crop top and skirt, which I got off of Etsy. And I actually wore that for my first booktube panel in 2017. Arin asks, favorite books by queer people of color you would recommend? I'm gonna go check my bookshelf. Alrighty, I have 2 to recommend and 1 that I want to read. First up is Anger is a Gift by Marco Shiro. This is a fantastic YA novel about teen activism, and it has one of the most diverse casts I've ever read about. And I also gotta go with the classic History is All You Left Me by Adam Silvera. I would definitely recommend any of Adam's books, but History is my particular favorite, and it follows a boy who is grieving the loss of his ex-boyfriend while he starts to form a friendship with his ex-boyfriend's most recent boyfriend. And the one book I'm excited to read is Felix Ever After by Kaysen Callender, and all I really know about this book is it follows a black, queer, transgender boy kind of navigating high school and falling in love for the first time. William asks, what are your favorite hobbies outside of reading? Thanks for all your time and info you share and all you do for the booktube community. Thank you. My first big hobby outside of booktube is always going to be pole dancing. I know I have a couple of questions about pole, which I'll get to later, but I've been pole dancing since 2017 and it has been a massive constant part of my life. I'm also from New York, so I try and venture into New York City as much as I possibly can because I absolutely love it. I do like everything there, from going to bookstores and book signings, coffee shops, restaurants, parks, concerts, bars, clubs, events. I just absolutely love hanging out in New York City. Those are all pretty good examples of things that I like to do as well. Sky asks, how has the vision / purpose of your channel grown / developed / changed since you began it? That is a loaded question. I think that's super easy to answer though. I started BookTube as just a place for me to share my love about books without judgment and to connect with other readers who were loving the same books as me. And I accomplished that very early on, making like lifelong friends in this experience But now booktube is very different as it is my job. Now I'm a public figure in the book world, so recommending you guys the books that I love and think that you will enjoy is my top priority. And I recognize that I'm a role model to a lot of people as well, so I always try and present the best of myself and promote the feelings and ideals and what I really stand for that I want to spread into the world. So booktube started as a very small activity that was like entirely self-serving, but now it has grown so much bigger than myself, and I'm really grateful to have that opportunity. All right, let's head on over to Twitter. Susan asks, how is your mental health with quarantine and how have you been? Almost any time I ask you guys for questions, you always ask like, how am I doing? How has my mental health been? And I want to be clear that I'm really appreciative of that. My mental health has honestly been pretty good for quarantine, and I think that's because my life hasn't changed all that much. I'm a total introvert who spends a lot of time at home, and I only ever really leave to hang out with my friends or for school or my internship. I definitely have had a few days where I'm like super low energy, can't get out of bed, not taking care of myself physically or with nutrition, and just like watching mindless TV and scrolling all day. But I've been trying to really be gentle with myself and giving myself those days to do that because I know I'll wake up the next day and be ready to jump back into the swing of things. So overall, really good. I have a question from Clea. What do you do when you happen to read a steamy scene in public? Do you keep going? Definitely, especially if it's in a physical book because I can be in like my own world. The problem arises with audiobooks. I don't know what it is. I don't know if anyone else has this problem as well, but I almost always have a steamy sex scene when I'm listening to my audiobook in the shower. And so like my mom will come in to like need to get a tissue, and all of a sudden two people are just like having vigorous sex, and I'm just like... And I'm equally mortified when I am driving and listening to my audiobook in the car and like my windows are down and I'm at a stoplight, so there's someone right next to me and I'm always like, I hope they can't hear it. Who is my first friend on booktube and how did you become friends? So I think my like #1 first booktube friend is someone who is no longer a booktuber, and that is Selena from OXXSnap13. We became friends because I posted my first book haul ever and I had gotten a set of the Twilight series and I was talking about how I was excited to read them. It turned into an even bigger read along with some of my other first booktube friends like Little Red Reader, Ray of Sunshine Books, Bookishly Kelly, and Enya's Corner. That read along totally changed my life and gave me the motivation to continue doing booktube, so I don't even know if I would be here today if it wasn't for them. Melissa asks, are you working/studying right now? So I'm currently in the middle of a 3-year program to get my master's degree in clinical mental health counseling. I'm a little bit more than 2 years in now, and I will be graduating next May. Currently, I'm in the middle of my summer classes, so I'm taking 2 classes this summer, and as for working, booktube is my job, so like I'm working as we speak, but I'm also working as a student counselor and finishing up my hours for my first internship, so I do telehealth or like digital therapy with a few clients every week, which I love so much. Following up on that, Helen says, what job do you want to have once you graduate? So hopefully once I get my degree, then I will get my license to be a licensed mental health counselor, and I eventually want to work in a private practice or like small clinical setting, treating clients who deal with issues such as eating disorders, depression, and anxiety. And I particularly want to work with teens and young adults. B. Tillman asks, would you ever move out of New York? If so, then where? I cannot see myself moving anywhere outside of New York in the United States. I just love New York so much. It is my home. I'm such a proud New Yorker, and I feel like everything I need in life I can get right here. That said, I do have this like tentative 10 to 12 year plan to live in London. So that is some place that I would definitely want to live for some years, if not like the rest of my life. London is definitely my favorite place in the entire world, and I just know that I'm destined to build some of my life there. My mom's not happy about it though and gets really mad anytime I talk about moving to a different country, so don't tell her. Kuhu asks, what is the hardest type of video for you to make? I have touching my hair from anxiety. I have at least 5 book reviews off the top of my head that I've needed to make for the past like 2 years. It's fascinating because the foundation of my channel was really built on like book tags, book hauls, and book reviews. I think it's just as my life has gotten so much busier, it's really difficult to dedicate the time and effort that goes into making and filming a singular book review. When I do make book reviews, I like to be really thorough, so that often involves taking notes while I'm reading, marking pages while I'm reading, and then also going back through the entire book and making sure I've gotten everything I want to as I write the review. So essentially, it's just a lot of work, and it's hard to find the motivation to keep it up when there are many other videos that I'm more passionate about making. I still really want to make these reviews though. I'm trying to prioritize them. It's just really hard. Sasha asks, how did you start doing pole? So I have had an interest in pole dancing probably since I was about 16, and I had discovered a couple of videos that I just thought were so beautiful and graceful. My sister and I had talked about taking a class together for like many years, but we just never got around to actually booking one. So for my 21st birthday, my sister actually bought me a Groupon for us to get like a discounted class together, and it ended up being so fun and amazing. I was really impressed with how much I was able to do in my first class, so I just decided to keep going, and I have been relentlessly trying to pole since. I'm dying to get a pole in my room, but my mom is also not happy about that. Alrighty, let's switch to Instagram, and then I will go back to Twitter later. Kelly asks, how have you been doing with your eating disorder? Have you mostly overcome it? I'll start by saying I am currently in the absolute best, most strongest position I have ever been in since starting recovery. Oh my god, how many years ago? 9 years ago? Wow. Yeah, I haven't had an actual relapse in well over a year at this point, which is new and exciting for me. I don't ever really feel comfortable using the term recovered for me personally. I feel like I'm still constantly in a state of recovering, but through the many years of hard work that I've put into getting to this spot, those thoughts are just like water off my back. They don't affect me. I'm able to dispute them easily, and I definitely do not really use any behaviors in order to compensate for those thoughts. So yeah, I'm in a particularly really strong position with my eating disorder recovery, and it's bizarre because I never thought in a million years that I would be at this point, but it really gives me hope for the future to see where I might be in another 9 years. Hope this isn't too personal, but how's your dad and why don't you talk about him much? I guess I don't mention my dad much, but I actually have a really amazing relationship with him. I talk to him on the phone almost every day, and so I think the reason I just don't talk about him is because he lives in Delaware. I haven't seen my dad in quite some time because of COVID, but he is like my best friend in the entire world. He's so supportive and incredible. And he makes me really happy. I don't think I'm pronouncing this username right, but Nitty Ready Reads asks, favorite zodiac signs? I don't know if I really have favorite zodiac signs, but there's clear patterns as to the people I do have in my life. I am an Aries, and I love an Aries, but I'm overwhelmingly surrounded by Leos and Libras. I have like a Sagittarius and some Aquariuses as well, but I like love all of the signs that are in my life. They keep life so interesting. Salil Dib asks, do you view Harry Potter differently now with what J.K. Rowling said? I feel I don't have an adequate, comprehensive answer ready for you right now. I have not been a fan of J.K. Rowling for quite some time. Over the years, she has just said so many things and done things that have really turned me off. And I'm increasingly disappointed and disgusted in the way that she has spoken about trans people in the last year or so, especially with her recent comments. And I'm in a position where I just like don't know where that leaves me in being so strongly against someone that has created something that shaped my entire identity and is a part of the reason I'm here today. I think I'll only really know how I feel about the Harry Potter books, the films, the franchise, the fandom over time, but I'm also planning on listening to the voices of trans and non-binary people from the fandom and how they're handling it. It's complicated and I'm working through it, as I'm sure many people are. I think that's all I have on that topic. This question is from Cass. Are Long Island bagels the best bagels? Absolutely, this is not even a debate. Ellie asks, what are your thoughts on the Daisy Jones and the Six cast, and how excited are you for the show? I am so excited for the Daisy Jones and the Six show that is eventually premiering on Amazon. I'm sure it got pushed back due to COVID, but nonetheless, I'm hyped. I've seen a few mixed feelings on the cast, but honestly, I feel like everyone is perfect for their role. I think once they are dressed up like Daisy Jones and the Six, they have the costumes and the hair, it'll totally fit them more into the 60s, 70s timeline, and I think it's just going to be Absolutely fantastic. Oh, I'm particularly so excited for the music. I cannot wait for all the music to be released. Megan asks, do you like boba? If so, what is your favorite flavor? I do like boba, and I'm a very basic bitch when it comes to boba. I love a regular, basic, sweet milk tea with tapioca pearls at the bottom, and I am set. Polly asks, favorite book of this year? Currently, I believe my favorite book of the year is Chain of Gold. That said, I am currently in the middle of The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab, and I'm amazed by every page. The writing is beautiful, the storytelling and plot is flawless, the characters are so intricate and complex. It's incredible. I feel like I've never read a book like it, so it is very reasonable that it may beat out Chain of Gold for the #1 spot. Leekay asks, favorite Counterfeit song? If you don't know, Counterfeit is a band where the lead singer is Jamie Campbell Bower, whom I have been obsessed with for many, many years, and I adore his band. I've seen them twice. I've met them twice. Oh man, let's go to Spotify and see what is my favorite, because I honestly don't know. So As Yet Untitled was always my favorite, and I totally thought that it could not be beat, but I don't know, something about Enough is just like top tier. Tara also asks, how long did it take you to get your splits? I have been a dancer since I was 2, so I have been able to do splits since I was 8. I'll never forget, I was with my mom at the salon because she was getting her hair done, and I was just like walking around like I owned the place and just plopped into a split, and from that moment forward, I could do splits. I know a lot of you are really interested in trying to get your splits, and so my #1 recommendation to you is just to stretch as much as you can, and if you need recommendations, there are so many stretching videos on YouTube for you to follow. Natasha asks, what's the booktube tea? Unfortunately for you, but very fortunate for me, I currently have no booktube tea. I try my hardest to stay out of booktube drama because I find that in most cases it is very superficial, unnecessary, and a waste of everybody's time. I did some hard self-reflection a couple of years ago and realized how unhappy and even disgusted I became with myself by always getting involved and always having to share my opinions on Twitter. And in the years since realizing I don't have to subject myself to that, I feel infinitely more calm and peaceful. I honestly recommend that everyone on BookTube just try and find your people who you really, really trust and have critical discussions with them there, because you will feel so much better just not shouting all of your opinions and every single thought you have into the void. Natasha also asks, did realizing you were bi have anything to do with your previous breakup? Absolutely not. I started coming out online a little bit later, but I first started coming to terms with myself and coming out to friends back in like 2018. Breakups just happen, guys, and they're often for the better. Booking My Life asks, what concrete steps are you taking to be actively anti-racist? I've been working on being honest with myself and deconstructing my biases for many years now, and one of the greatest interventions of that happened during my multicultural counseling course that I took last semester. I gained so much crucial knowledge from that course that I'm continually synthesizing into my real life every single day. I read a fantastic book called Why Are All the Black Kids Sitting Together in the Cafeteria? And I'm currently reading a book called How to Be Anti-Racist, which I'm really enjoying. Seeking out education about racial dynamics and being cognizant of my own white privilege and how I contribute to racial issues is not something I'm unfamiliar with, but it's something I'm continually putting in work for every day. As for things I've been trying to do in this current movement as an anti-racist ally, as I have been signing so many petitions and sending them to my friends and family to have them share as well. I've donated to a few bail funds and organizations, and I'm planning on setting up recurring donations that will be ongoing as well. I also attended a Black Lives Matter protest in Amityville, Long Island that was organized by the Great Sunrise March on Instagram, and I was really grateful to be a part of that and come together with my community to really stand up for what we believe, and just continuing to educate myself and sharing that education with others. If you're interested in getting involved, trying to learn more, or seeing what you can do, I have a Black Lives Matter highlight on my Instagram at @emmmabooks, and there are so many different links and resources and posts you can check out there. Daniela asks, how different is graduate school from college? The biggest difference is the work. Grad school is so much more work. There's a ton of reading and a lot of self-learning, and on top of that, you have more complicated and more involved projects. The curriculum is different because everything I'm studying now is directly tied to my career as a mental health counselor, whereas in college you take general education requirements and electives, but now it's like totally focused on your major. Also, it may be particular to my program or just being a counseling student, but we do a lot of interpersonal work in grad school. So instead of always having to do like a research paper on a certain topic, a lot of times we're tasked with doing some serious self-reflection and writing about it or producing something along those lines related to our class topic. I actually have a really great example of that. For the multicultural class that I had mentioned previously, I had to make a cultural biography, which was a video where I talked about a lot of my different identities. That's a video that is super personal and I'm incredibly proud of, so if you're interested, that will be in the description for you to watch. Darian asks, have you been dating at all while in quarantine, and how did you manage? How do I answer this? Hi.
Hi, sorry I missed your call.
Are you busy?
Not really, what's up?
So I'm filming a Q&A, and one of my followers asked, how has my dating life been in quarantine?
Okay, you're asking me what you should put.
Absolutely.
How would you say it?
How do I like calmly explain that quarantine has been the most prosperous period of my love life in years?
I mean, those are really nice words. I like the way you said it.
Do I just insert the fan cam I made of you?
I like cash in my hair to my ass. Do the dash, can you make it go fast? Fuck the fame, all I want is them bands. If she keep on mugging, I might steal her man. He watching my behavior cause he know I'm bad. Pussy put a spell on him, he in a trance. I do what I please and you do what I ask. He love my confidence and that's what you lack. If you think I'm stealing swag, bitch come and sue me. They watch me like I'm a new movie. His baby mother is my groupie. We got the club going up on a Tuesday.
So yeah, and then the only other thing is I'm just intimidated by your hordes of fans.
I'll text you, okay?
Okay, I'll text you later.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
I might be seeing someone. I really hope to tell you guys more in the future because, to be honest, it is the most piping hot tea in my entire life and a saga worthy of its own young adult novel, but alas, that is for another day. Nev asks, who is your OTP on Degrassi? I love this question because I am so obsessed with Degrassi The Next Generation. Emma and Sean are definitely my #1 OTP. Okay, I totally shipped Alex and Paige. Claire and Eli was a wild ride, and I held on the entire time. Oh my god, Declan and Holly J, the couple that deserved infinitely more screen time. Clea asks, have you ever happened to befriend one of your subscribers, or would you want to? This is an interesting question because I know a lot of people are curious if like their favorite YouTubers would ever become friends with them the way that they probably want to. The answer is yes though. I definitely have a couple of booktube friends who like first identified themselves as a subscriber of mine and they really enjoyed my videos, and then over time we became better friends. And my friend Megan is gonna love me giving her a shout out in one of my videos, but Megan is someone I met at Barnes & Noble. She just came up to me because she recognized me, and over the years we ended up becoming really good friends. That said, the line between subscriber and content creator can get very messy as there is a power balance that is first established there. But I've come to realize there are many factors such as age and connection, to just name 2 of them, that have to be perfectly placed in order for you both to overcome that boundary. In my experience, it's possible, as I've also become really good friends with a lot of booktubers that I previously consider myself to just be a fan of, but it's messy and complicated and has to be treated with a lot of caution. Lexi says, if you could bring one nostalgic item back from your childhood, what would it be? Honestly, in the summer, I've been totally missing my pool and trampoline I used to have in the backyard of my childhood home. Zach asks, how have you been keeping busy during quarantine? Any self-care tips? I've been trying to be pretty diligent about actually getting ready during the day, like getting in the shower, getting dressed, and like sitting at a table to do my work instead of always laying in bed. Going outside, encountering nature, and just feeling the outdoors on my skin has been really invigorating. And honestly, I've been having a lot of dance parties. I have multiple solo dance parties every day. I just play my music and I dance like nobody's watching, because nobody is, and it is so uplifting. Along with stretching, which is something I've also been doing a lot of in quarantine, just being physically active has been a real lifesaver for me. Ooh, this is a great question from Honey. What has been one of your most rewarding and or humbling reads? How would you describe your role as an ally through the lens of a white influencer? I feel like I kind of already answered the second question a little bit in the responsibilities I feel as a public figure and what I've been trying to do with my platform. Humbling reads, though, that's a great question because I've had so many. I found the perfect answer for this, and that is In the Country We Love by Diane Guerrero. This is a nonfiction autobiography / memoir about the actress and her experience growing up as the child of undocumented immigrants. This book just shook me to my core. It was such an unfiltered and raw description of an experience that I have absolutely no relation to. I've never encountered insecurity or fear related to my immigration status, and that's why I really wanted to pick up the book. It really opened my eyes, and I honestly get a little emotional and choked up every time I think about it because it was just that powerful. If the experience of undocumented immigrants in America is something that you have no experience with or you don't have a lot of knowledge about, I would so recommend this novel, especially the audiobook, which is narrated by the author. She tells her life story in such an impactful way that I will never forget about it. Charisma asks, when did you realize you wanted to become a therapist and why? I knew that I wanted to become some kind of therapist when I was 15, and that was when I first entered recovery for my eating disorder and met my therapist. My therapist has helped me in so many ways that I could not even relay to you right now, and the impact that she made on me as a teen made me want to make the same impact on others and help other teens through their own issues. I was always like the therapist friend in all of my friend groups. I was the person that everyone would come to when they had a problem or needed advice, but that also isn't a determinant on that you should be a therapist, or if you weren't the therapist friend that you shouldn't be a therapist. In my program, I know people who are currently becoming mental health counselors that were artists, educators, nurses, personal trainers, business owners, and even meteorologists. So I've known that I've wanted to be a therapist since I was 15, but that is not the same case for everyone, and you can totally be successful in any career despite when you decide that you want to pursue it. Victoria says, do you feel guilty when you were in a reading slump? I feel bad that during COVID I was reading a lot less the first 2 months. I can definitely relate. My reading has totally been impacted by COVID because I am the type of person who reads really well, like at different points throughout the day. I read on my lunch break, while I'm in the waiting room for appointments. I listen to audiobooks when I'm traveling, or I like to go to places just to read. So a lot of my reading happens outside of my home, but I'm at home all the time, so it's sometimes harder for me to reach for books. So I totally feel you on that, and I definitely do feel some of that guilt. But reading is first and foremost a hobby for me, and I will always do it because it's what I love to do. So if I am distracted, if I'm going through other things, or if I just don't feel like reading, I try and be pretty gentle with myself because I know I'll get back to it when I am in the mood. Alrighty, I feel like that's a good point for me to end this Q&A. So thank you so much to everyone who submitted questions, even if I wasn't able to answer all of them. Let me know your thoughts on some of the things I might have answered in this video, but that is it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you soon for a new video. Bye!